Hey folks, today we're going to be looking at a Windows phone. Ever since I got the Moto G, I've been interested in trying other phones that are out there on the market and seeing what they're like. Windows Phone is going to be the first one. And here we have the Nokia Lumia 635. This is the successor to the Nokia Lumia 520, which is one of the most successful Windows phones ever because it was so cheap. And this one is at the exact same price point. On Black Friday, it was $40. I got this for $52.99 on Amazon, and if you go into Walmart or something, it'll be like $100 on the shelf. So it's a pretty cheap phone. So pretty nice stuff. It's an AT. These are sold for AT&T as Go phones. You can also buy these on T-Mobile as well, off contract. So pretty good stuff. I plan to just stick my SIM card in here and use it during the Christmas week and see how I make out with it. And see what Windows Phone is like. Because believe it or not, I've never used it before. I've used iOS. I'm a recent convert to Android. And Windows Phone, I just want to see what it's like. So, this is your typical Go phone packaging. Believe it or not, that's the best plan you can get with it. 2.5 gigs of data. I would prefer if they would give you like a 5 gigabyte option. That'd be kind of nice for the upper tier plan. Like, I was hoping a lower tier plan would be like 2 gigabytes and then you could go to 5, but I'll show you once I get inside here. This phone support is pretty much just like the Nokia Lumia 520, except the specs have been bumped just a little bit. Instead of the dual-core processor, this has a quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 processor, so it has the same CPU as the Moto G does. Funny enough, so it's almost the same phone. It has 512 megs of RAM, which you'd think would be kind of low for a phone this modern, but Windows Phone is actually pretty light operating system. So yeah, go figure that, huh? This phone also supports 4G LTE, while the 520 does not. So that'll be nice to use. My AT&T plan does include 4G LTE, so that'll be fun. This is the best plan you can get, the most expensive one, the $60 a month for unlimited everything but data. Data is capped at 2.5, which is stupid, in my opinion. For $40, you get 500 megabytes in 500 minutes. 500 megabytes! That's useless. They really need to improve these plans, because these plans are pretty crappy as far as data is concerned. Like, the only one that's actually worth getting data on is the $60 one. They should just get rid of this plan entirely. $25 a month gets you 250 minutes and no data plan. So, that's kind of stupid to offer that with a smartphone, in my opinion. Although these do have Wi-Fi, so I guess I could see doing that. This is what you get in the box. You get the phone itself, the charger, user guides, you get a SIM card, and the Go Phone Quick Start Guide. I'm not going to be using the SIM card, I'm going to be using my own SIM card instead. So this phone comes with Windows Phone 8.1, has a 4.5-inch screen, so it's a very similar size, if not the same size, as the Moto G. That's what I'm going to be comparing this against. And as well as iOS devices I've owned in the past. There's a 5 megapixel camera on the back, just like the Moto G does, which captures in 720p, just like the Moto G. And, of course, it has an internal SD card slot, just like the Moto G, at least the one with LTE. So, it's a very similar phone, actually. It's just running the Windows Phone platform instead. It comes with some preloaded apps. You get a Nokia camera, Yellow Pages, Here Transit, App Social, and Nokia Creative Studio. Yellow Pages Mobile and Nokia Camera seem like the most useful out of any of those. Of course, on the back, it just tells you more about this phone. So I've cut the packaging open already because it was a blister pack. So I haven't actually unboxed anything. I just opened the box itself just so I could get everything done there. So here's the phone itself with a sticker over the screen, which is probably in my mind is a stupid way to package these. You'll notice that this 635 does not have capacitive buttons, unlike the 520, so the buttons are actually on screen. which I kind of like that better because that means through software you can actually change the buttons. Of course, here's the back. There's a nice sticker on it telling you how to open the phone. Where's that little thing you pull? Do not activate an account. Use your current SIM. Yeah. So the phone feels pretty lightweight so far. It does not have the battery in it out of the box. So, you know, there you have it. There's the speaker down there. So, what else do you get? You get a SIM card that I'm not going to be using. You get a removable battery, which I actually really like. The Moto G does not have that luxury. You have to actually take the phone apart yourself with a screwdriver and to get that battery out. This one, you can just take the back off, and that's that. You get your manual for the Go phones, and you get, looks like the manual for, or at least a feature guide pamphlet for the Nokia phone itself. And of course, you get the charger, which for some reason is a bit dusty in the box. They should have put this in like plastic or something so it didn't get so dusty. But it's just a standard micro USB connector, so there you have it. Nothing crazy there. So put that SIM back in there, and we will take a look at the phone itself. All right, let's take this sticker off. Hopefully this doesn't leave any residue on the screen. That'd really be annoying. Looks okay to me. No residue on the screen. There you go. Very shiny. You can actually see the camera in the reflection there. Now, of course, let's take this off. Here's the back of the phone, which is nice and slick. I like that a lot. It's very nice. There's the AT&T logo there. There's a speaker there. Nokia logo is here. You want to see that right side up. 5 megapixel cameras back there. It has a protruding camera, which is not my favorite design on any phone. In fact, I absolutely despise cameras that protrude like that. It looks nice, but it's not that practical because if you drop the phone straight on the camera's screwed. On the top, you have a headphone jack. On the bottom, you have the micro USB port. And on the side, you have the power button in the middle, which is going to be weird to get used to, and the volume rocker. Already I'm noticing that one button is like clickier than the other, so that's a bit weird and inconsistent. The one thing that's missing from this that was on the Nokia Lumia 520 is the camera button. There would have been a camera button here, but they got rid of that for some reason. I thought that was a trademark of Windows phones for a long time, is that they had a camera button. I don't know, and that's not such a big deal to me because I can just hold the phone like this and then just hit the button. I mean, that's how I usually take pictures with phones, is just hold it like that and hold it like this and then hit the button. No big deal. They have the Nokia logo up top here. I'm not a fan of phones and tablets that do that put their logo like right up on the front of the phone. I think that looks a bit ugly. I have the same complaint about Samsung devices. They tend to put their name right at the top of them. Of course, there's a speaker grill up there for listening to the people you're calling. And then, of course, there's a tiny little microphone down there. I don't know if that could even focus or you can see it, but it's right down there. How on earth do you get the back off? Oh, you just push on the camera. Lines it, comes right off. And it's a replaceable shell, which is nice. Has little foam pads to hold the battery in. And here's what you get inside the back of the phone here. Looks like there's a speaker there. And in the back of the phone, you have the battery compartment, the SIM card slot, and the SD card slot. So, cool stuff. I have a 16 gigabyte micro SD card I can stick in this phone and use. So, I'll stick that in there and we'll be good to go. One thing that I'm questioning is what this is. There's a little, like, knockout plug here. I wonder what that was for. Odd, but, yeah. Okay, so let's go over the phone itself. On the right side, you have the power button in the middle, which is a bit weird to get used to. The volume rocker is above that. Up here is the headphone jack. On the left side is nothing. On the bottom is a micro USB port. On the back, the speaker's on the bottom there. And then there's the camera. One thing I really like about this phone is getting the back off of it's pretty easy. You literally just kind of work it loose. You just work it loose around the top here, and the back comes off. And of course, you just get that, you get access to everything inside. SD card, SIM card slot, battery, everything is all right there. So this is a design I like. It's similar to Motorola where they have the backs you can swap out, and I really enjoy that. That's really nice. There you go. This phone uses a 1,830 milliamp hour battery. It's a lithium ion. And I like that this battery is removable. That's really cool. So I can just stick this battery in here and start the phone. I should really go get my SIM card and stuff in there, but let's boot the phone up anyway. It's kind of hard to do that with the back off, so let me put this back on here. And let's boot the phone up and see what happens. It vibrated the moment I pressed the button. Nothing exciting yet. Oh, there we go. Windows symbol. Alright, there you go. You just do your typical setup of Windows Phone. You just select your language, and yeah, I know it doesn't like that I don't have a SIM card in there. But yeah, activate your phone, accept the terms of use, connect to your Wi-Fi and all that good stuff. So it's just basically setting up. Alright folks, it's been about a day and I'm already in the process of returning this phone. So my impressions are not the greatest. At least in some ways, in others they are. Nokia can still make a hell of a phone. I like this phone for what it is. Windows Phone's interesting, I will say that. Basically, it doesn't feel much different from, when I had my Surface. I kind of get the same feel and experience out of it. I kind of wish... The one thing I really don't like about Windows Phone is the up and down movement to get to apps. I'm double jointed, and that really just does not feel that comfortable to me. That's a nitpicky thing, though. Cortana is excellent. Cortana's hilarious. And I'll show you why. Tell me a stupid joke.
I'm sorry. The internet and I aren't talking right now.
Oh, I guess my Wi-Fi's not working. Apparently it didn't connect. It's connected to Wi-Fi, but the Cortana's not working. See, crap like this is just stupid. See, stuff just kind of doesn't work sometimes. Shut up, phone. Stuff is just not quite working the way it ought to. Gaming is fine. I played some Bejeweled on this earlier, and that was fantastic. So overall, this would make a good backup phone actually, because it does all the basics just fine, and it has a few games that are actually really good because it's intertwined with the Xbox stuff. The camera on this phone is pretty good. It's better than the one on my Moto G over there, much better, because in low light like it is in this room right now, it actually it doesn't slow down the shutter speed to the point where it's blur city. So that's pretty nice. You can go check out the camera test video if you want to see what that looks like. That was a pretty rushed and hasty camera video too. So it has a lot of the apps that I use. It has Shazam, it has iHeartRadio, YouTube, Facebook, Skype is there, WhatsApp, eBay, PayPal, shipping tracker app, and of course my email stuff. So it has all the basic apps I would need if I wanted to use this as a backup phone, and it would make a pretty good backup phone. But there are just things about Windows phones that kind of drive me nuts so far. The camera's good, the phone itself is pretty good, but this phone itself is a bit meh. The screen the screen gets really greasy and smudgy very, very easily, as opposed to the. It's supposed to be Glass 3, so I don't know why it smudges more easily than the Moto G screen does. That's a bit odd. The back, as you can see, my sweaty hands smudged that up immediately. And even when I wipe it, it still looks a bit smudgy, so I'm going to have to clean this before I return it. Although there are many apps on this phone that I could find and use, there were some missing, like the TD Bank app was one that I really liked on iOS and Android, and that's not on here, so I'd have to use Internet Explorer to do my online banking. Same goes for Bandcamp. Bandcamp doesn't have an app either, so I'd have to go through Internet Explorer to stream music through Bandcamp. So, it feels half baked for that reason. For the same reasons that Windows RT did on the Surface RT. One thing that Nokia did that I thought was really cool is they put an old school ringtone on here from back in the Nokia 3310 days. That's just cool, man. I like that. Call quality's fine. It's what you'd expect out of any phone. So yeah, you get basic apps. You get basic functionality that works very, very well. The 635 is an excellent phone if you're not a heavy smartphone user at all and want one with a decent camera. For $52.99, this is a very good phone. At least if you can get it at that price, $60, something like that. However, for me, it is not a good backup phone, and I'll tell you why. Moving my contacts over was a nightmare. I exported my contacts from Google via an Outlook-specific .csv file, put that into my Outlook account, and the phone numbers all showed up in my Outlook account online, but they didn't show up on the phone, so I had to re-enter all those numbers manually, which that I figured I'd just have to put up with that to use the rest of the phone. But no, there was actually stuff that was a lot worse. It turns out that if you have an Android phone, like this Moto G I have here, on a contract and a data plan, and you register the IMEI number of your Android phone so that all works properly, if I put the SIM card in this phone and my texting and data stopped working. I went to the AT&T store today to get that fixed, and it turns out that some of their data plans, or at least the way that they register your phones, is platform specific. So by putting my SIM card from this phone into the Windows phone, it actually screwed the whole thing up. So that means for my backup phone, I'm going to have to stick with Android as a platform, which means I'm just going to have to do some shopping around. So that's pretty irritating. I do not like that. So this does not make a good backup phone for that reason alone, that I'd have to re-register my IMEI number every time with AT&T to get that whole thing straightened out. Other than the issues with AT&T and the debacle with my contacts, this is a good phone. It's a very good phone for the price. It performs excellent even with 512 megs of RAM. The apps seem responsive. Even basic games like Bejeweled work fine. It's a very responsive, very snappy phone. It's very good for the money. So my first impression of Windows Phone is that it's a good platform. You just have to be invested in it and not be a heavy smartphone user in order to enjoy it. For me, it feels a bit restrictive, even more restrictive than iOS did, because there's less apps. There's some apps that Windows Phone just doesn't have that iOS and Android do have. So it feels a little bit half-baked in some aspects to me. That's my impression of Windows Phone. It's kind of the same way I felt about Windows RT on the Surface in the end after about a year using it. So it's kind of the same opinion there. It's a good phone for basic stuff, but if you're a heavy smartphone user, it's probably not the best. This would be a good phone to give to your kids because it's like $60. It's pretty tough. It has a decent camera and decent features for social networking. Yeah, something like this would be great for the kids or as a secondary phone or device or something like that. So, overall, not a bad phone, but the issues I had with it just do not fit the bill for a backup phone. There are certain design flaws that I don't like in this phone that applies to other phones as well. The camera is a little bit protrusive. Protruding cameras seem to be a fad on devices today, and I absolutely can't stand it. Why on earth does the camera have to protrude? Make the device slightly thicker so that you don't scratch the camera lens, especially if it's a cheap one. Motorola had the right idea. This camera is actually slightly recessed in the case there, as you can see. Motorola did their homework on that one, so that's good. Nokia and Samsung especially seem to love protruding cameras. At least Nokia does with these newer iterations. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that. That's the one complaint I have about the hardware of this phone is that. Otherwise, the speaker is okay. It's not too bad of a phone. But you know, it's good for the basics. It's good for a basic smartphone if you're not a heavy user of one. So if you don't have a smartphone yet and you'd like to get a new one and you don't want to really use it all that much and aren't a heavy user of it at all, this is definitely one of the better options to choose. I like this better than the cheap Android phones because it just performs a lot better than those do in a lot of ways. It has better specs and better cameras than a lot of those like sub $100 Android phones do. So if you're going for a super cheap budget phone, Windows Phone is where you want to be. Absolutely. So good stuff. I feel like the Windows OS on this phone is an excellent operating system. It's light, it's responsive, it's fantastic, but everything surrounding it is a bit of a mess. The store doesn't have as many apps as it should. The interface is a little bit cluttered, in my opinion. But, you know, other than that, there's not much to complain about, really. Anyway, that's kind of a rushed short review of the Nokia Lumia 635. My impressions are pretty good, but the issues I had were just so bad that I couldn't deal with it as a backup phone. So, that's a shame, but I'll find something else. Don't you worry. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good one, everybody. Ciao.